Welcome to Grubbin with Jess. I am a guest on her show today, TMfl, and today I'm going to show you how to make a nice, easy, simple shrimp stir fry. Now let's start with my ingredients. We have 2 pounds of shrimp. Now you can do a pound, pound and a half. It's totally up to you. You know, I like the more protein, the better. We got some broccoli. We got green peppers and onions, which I've sliced. We have carrots, which I've chopped in half. And we got a little bit of cilantro, you know, about 2 tablespoons worth or so. And our seasonings today will be some Lawry's seasoned salt, some black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, Cajun seasoning, and of course, the last tip, the stir-fry sauce. Now let me show you how to get all this beautiful ingredients together. Let's get grubbing. Okay, what we're gonna start with is I have a pot with water. We're gonna need to parboil the broccoli and the carrots, okay? Because the broccoli is a little raw and the carrots are a little hard. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this pot up to a boil, and then we're gonna add the broccoli or the carrots in first. It doesn't matter which one you add in first. What you're gonna do is you're gonna heat them up for about a minute to a minute and a half, just until they're tender. Because if you don't, when you stir fry everything together, they're gonna be too hard. Same thing with the broccoli. It's gonna be less of a minute than the carrots, just because the broccoli is not as hard as the carrots. But we're gonna parboil those as well, and I'll show you the guys the process along the way. All right, now that I got my water boiling, I'm gonna go ahead and put my carrots in. Now, we're gonna put these carrots in, like I said, give or take, let's say a minute to a minute and a half. How you test them is, you're gonna need to grab one, you know, make sure you don't burn yourself, and, you know, kind of give it a little bite. And if it's still really hard, it's not ready yet. You need to give it a little, you need to be able to bite into it kind of with ease, but at the same time, you still want some structure. You still want a little crunch to it, because we're still going to saute this with the rest of the vegetables and the shrimp and all that stuff. So leave these in there for about a minute to a minute and a half, and then give them a try. And if they're still not ready yet, then go ahead and leave them in there for, you know, a little bit longer until you get the texture. You don't want to overcook them. You do not want these things mushy, because it's going to mess your whole plans up. So make sure you cook them to a nice, good, strong, firm situation. Now my carrots are done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ice bath them, which is a bowl of water full of ice, because you want to stop the cooking process. I'm going to use the same pot and the same ice bowl as I'm doing the broccoli. Everything's getting mixed together, so it's totally fine. No need to separate a lot of this stuff. Now this is what I mean when you still want a little bit of firmness, but you don't want to overcook it. You should be able to grab it, you know what I mean, and squeeze it, but it still has some firmness. See how it's not mushy? It has a nice little texture. It's nice and firm still. That's what you want. You do it any past that, then, you know, it's not going to be any good. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and throw our broccoli into this water. And broccoli, like I said before, because it's not as dense as carrots, you don't need to cook this as much. You're going to do this. It's going to should get a nice dark green color. And this will be like more or less, let's say, give or take more or less of a minute, because this doesn't take too long. Reason why you don't want to overcook this stuff is because, like I said, you're still going to saute everything together to get all the flavors together. So there's still more cooking. This is just par cooking it just to get it ready for, you know, the final situation that, you know, is going to be your beautiful meal. And when this gets done, I'll hit you guys back up and let you know what the next step is. Now that my broccoli is nice and bright green and It's gotten softer. I'm going to go ahead and blanch these, or finish blanching these as well. I'm going to put them in the nice ice bath with the carrots. Now you can add any vegetables you want. These are just the vegetables that I so choose, because I like broccoli, I like onions, I like bell peppers, carrots. You can add anything here. You can add mushrooms. You can add cabbage. Any type of vegetable you want for the stir fry, feel free. Feel free to do that. You don't need to do the ones that I have here. This is just what is best for me and what I like best. Now we're going to let those cool off just for a little bit, and we're going to start with our next process, and I'll get with you guys in 1 second. Now, our next process is going to be, we're going to go ahead and cook the shrimp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat my pan up, and I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in there. A little olive oil. We'll go ahead and cook our shrimp. One thing I didn't mention before is if you want a little spice into something like this, it's totally okay to put some chili flakes in there, which that's actually what I'm going to do because I love hot food. But feel free to put whatever you want in there. This is just like just like a quick beginner's guide to making things your own. That's what cooking's all about, is just making your own. Okay, now that we got our pan nice and hot, we're going to go ahead and start searing up some of these shrimp. We're also going to throw our cilantro in there. Now, believe it or not, cilantro is not the main part of this. It's actually not in the recipe, but I like cilantro, so that's why I'm putting it in there. Like I said, cooking's all about you. It's all about how you want to do it and what you want to put in there. It's all about your taste. Cook this for the family, for you. It doesn't really matter. Okay, now we're going to start adding all of our seasonings. So let's put a little bit of pepper up in there. Gotta get that seasoned salt up in there. Got that onion powder. We have that garlic. Of course, one of my favorites is Cajun. Let's give that a little spin. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to cook the shrimp first, and we're going to cook it, let's say, give or take about 80% or so. And the reason why I'm cooking it about 80% or so is just because we're going to be stirring in all of the vegetables with it, along with the sauce and all that good stuff. So we need to still saute the peppers, the onions, and things of that nature. So you want to kind of cook these things, all these things separate. And the reason why you're cooking things separate is because you want that nice crisp bite when you bite into the vegetables. You don't want soggy vegetables. You want it crisp. You want a crunch, but at the same time, you don't want it over crunchy. Hence why I did parboil the broccoli and the carrots. And you'll see all this come along to fruition on my next step. Okay, now that my shrimp is mainly done, give or take, 85, 90%, it's just pretty much just about done. I'm letting it sit here. I'm having, just letting it do its thing. You don't need to cool it off or anything like that because it's about to go back into the dish. Now, with the same pot, I just kind of rinsed it out. I'm doing butter. You only need, give or take a tablespoon and a half of butter because I'm going to saute the onions and the peppers. And I'm going to get those probably, give or take, saute them till they're nice and, start getting that nice golden color lightly on them. And then I'll throw everything together, and that'll be the end of the deal. And I'll show you guys exactly what everything looks like when I'm all done. Now that the butter is nice and melted and sizzling, you want to go ahead and throw your peppers and onions in. Yeah, look at that. Everything smells delicious. Main reason why I'm using butter is because butter has a better taste than olive oil. And the reason why I didn't use butter for the shrimp is because the butter would have burned while the shrimp was cooking. Olive oil just stands out a little bit better than the butter, but the butter won't burn with these vegetables as you're turning the vegetables, because this is practically almost the end of the meal. I just need to get these vegetables nice and soft right here. And I'm going to add actually a little bit of seasoning as well. So, you know, a little pepper. You know, you don't need to add much because, you know, everything has seasoning, but you want everything to have seasoning every single bite throughout. You know, you don't want to eat the shrimp and be like, oh, the shrimp has good flavor, but the vegetables are plain. So I normally like to add seasonings to just about everything. A little seasoned salt. Just a little shake of the garlic. That's really all you need. You don't need to overdo it with this, but like I said, at the same time, you still want flavor onto these onions and bell peppers. So I'm going to go ahead and let these cook and calm down and get from the raw stage that they are now and get a little bit less, even though you do want this stuff crispy. You don't want it, you know, as raw and as crispy as it is now. So let me do that, and then I'll go with the next stage and show you guys me putting everything together. Okay, now that these peppers and onions have got nice and soft and got a little limp for me, they still have a nice little crisp bite to it. I'm gonna go ahead and add everything to there. There's the broccoli and the carrots. And even the yummy shrimp. Look at that. This will probably make, give or take, enough food, well more than enough food for probably about 6 people. Just letting you know. You know, you want to mix this up nice and good. Now it's time. We're also going to add the sauce as well. You don't need to go crazy with the sauce. You just need enough to get everything up in there. So, you know, give or take, add about half the bottle, I would say. Or a little less. That's about right. Okay, so about give or take 10 or 12 minutes in the pot simmering. I did have the lid on it, stirring occasionally in between the 10 to 12 minutes that it's been here, nice and simmering. Your meal's all done. So let me plate it up, show you how beautiful this is. All right, here's your finished product. Look at that, plenty of vegetables. You get at least a shrimp in every bite. Absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. Thank you for coming along this journey with me. I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. And I want to thank Jess for having me as a guest on her show. And everybody keep grubbing.